Hello there, everyone. Zantok here. It's Supercast Brothers. That's Jonno right there. This is the Smash Brothers podcast, and you know what? My favorite Pokemon is Cubone. Hey, Jonno, what's your favorite Pokemon?
Today it's Jigglypuff.
But normally,
Observe. Some days it's the Pelican. Pelipper.
oh.
You may know them. But Jigglypuff here is finally asleep.
Oh, asleep, huh? So you
Yes.
don't want me to be loud.
Yeah, they're so very calm and sweet. You almost sounded like Jigglypuff. Good work.
Yeah, thanks. Well, you see, we've got our Pokemon out here today, because today's episode is all about catching your friends and stuffing them in little receptacles and making them do things for you. And by that, I mean anything that's not Pokemon. We're not talking about Pokemon today. Get them out of here. Toss the baby, Jono. No Pokemon today. No. Because you know what? There's more monster catching and battling games out there than just Pokemon. I mean, they might not be as good, depending on who you talk to. They're not as good. But we'll be talking about these other ones today, because we had an idea and we said, fuck it, it'll be fun. Let's do it.
Yep.
Yeah.
Rabid Mario versus Rhindog.
No, that was... First of all, that was last season. Second of all, neither of those are monsters that you catch and you have do things for you.
I once felt like I myself was Rabid Mario.
I believe that.
Yeah.
The Venn diagram between Jonno and Rabid Jonno is a circle. The Venn diagram between me and Rabid Zantok is a lot more like a normal Venn diagram. And not a circle at all. It might actually be two circles. Even it's not two circles. I have to be honest. It's not two circles, but it's very close to being two circles.
We need to commission that.
I mean, we know a few artists.
We do.
We could. I mean, there is an episode coming up later this season that I would love us to have something drawn up for. Spoilers, not really. Teaser, actually. Will we actually do that, though? I don't know. That's later in the season. We'll see.
We talked about it internally before, and I forgot what it was now.
Well, whoops. I'm not going to edit a section of this episode out, so we can maybe remember to talk about it after we're done recording today. How about that?
Okay.
Yeah. All right. Making executive decisions here live. Not really live, but during the recording session. You know you love to hear it. Just like we all love to hear about global politics and the Star Wars prequels.
Yeah. Interesting stuff. Where do you want to start?
Well, what's the season's finale again?
The season finale?
Ah, yes.
Of Star Wars?
What?
I don't think there's a season finale of the movies.
I mean, if you think about it, the third movie of each trilogy is the season finale.
Yeah, that's true.
If you think about it.
It's going to be the series of finale of the Bad Batch anytime now.
Yeah. I think that started. I haven't watched it. I'm waiting till it's over.
Mm-hmm.
Oh God, I really should have added a list of things to watch. Fucking Jesus! I only just finished Echo. I just finished Echo. I have to watch Percy Jackson. A friend of mine wants me to watch both seasons of The Traitors. I watched the first season. I like the theming. Love the host. I have some real fucking problems with the format. I have some real issues with the format.
So we're not going to have a Smash Brothers Traitors episode.
No. I don't think there's much point in that.
I don't even know what it is. So yeah, I'm talking out of my butt as usual. So
It's basically, Mafia, Town of Salem, Werewolf.
okay.
It's a reality show version of that. Except they fucked up how it's supposed to end.
Mm-hmm. Gotcha.
Yeah.
I quite enjoyed playing Mafia back in the day.
It's a good
That was,
game.
yeah. Okay.
I have a Town of Salem Sebastopia submission on the wiki. It's a
You
spirit
do.
battle for the Godfather.
Wow. Things have really been moving. I didn't realize you had the Godfather as a character on
Oh yeah,
Smash Bros.
not a character, not it's a spirit. It's a spirit. Did of a different thing. They are posted last year. Anyway.
Oh, okay. Yep. I
Yeah.
see him.
Now you see. I have also thought about doing the arsonist because that's my favorite role to play in Town of Salem. It is so satisfying when you get an arsonist victory. Oh my god, it's the best. I love it.
Yep, that checks out. That checks out. I remember the Valentine's Day card that we made of you a few years ago. Referenced fire.
What?
Something else to talk about later. Maybe it was more than a few years ago. There's one of you, one of me, one of Trevor, I'm pretty sure.
Oh, wait a minute. I think might know what you're talking about now. Okay. Was it the picture where I'm like lit up by the red light? When there's bricks
Yes.
behind? Okay. Okay. I don't remember what's on it. I just remember that picture is involved.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Well, now that you have unlocked a suppressed memory, thank you. It's a Smash or Dash episode. There's also Rate Their Chances, and as we said, there is no Pokemon in this episode, just a lot of Pokemon-like things.
Yes.
And I think we can start off our Rate Their Chances with the most recent, and you could say both the most and least like Pokemon thing. If you think about it. Because you know what game took the world by storm recently, or at least for like a month, and then the viewership or the player base dropped like 80%? Palworld.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, the one where you can throw spheres at people and can capture them, and then also force things to become slave labor at your camp. That game. And also you can give a sheep a fucking rifle.
It's like, oh, when you put it that way, I'm still not going to play it.
Whale Trail has played it a good bit. Whale Trail has actually completed the decks, and he's beaten the game as far as like what game there is at this point, because the game's still in beta, so there'll be more eventually. And I got super bored one day. I was doing some house sitting, so I couldn't do my usual stuff. And so I joined him for a little bit, just kind of like get an idea of what the game was. So it's like, okay, I get this game works now. This is just a survival game. All people say, oh, this is the new Pokemon. It's like, no, this is literally a survival game with a Pokemon gimmick. That's what this is. This is not Pokemon. There are some very Pokemon designs, like the character that we have up for discussion today, which is literally just Lucario. It is Egyptian Lucario. It is called Anubis. And it's funny. This one in particular is funny to me because I've seen like years ago the fan art of a regional form of Lucario being being Egyptian inspired. It's like, this is literally that design. I have seen this art before. Not to harp too much on Palworld and if it is or isn't good, or if it is or isn't blatantly copying Pokemon. Not to harp on that. We are here to do a Rate Their Chances discussion of Anubis, or really any PAL in general, really, because we weren't really sure which one to really talk about here. And the reason why we went with Anubis was, one part, it looks like it could be a fighter. Just look at the design. 2, it's literally Lucario, and we could make that joke. And then 3, there are statues of Anubis that you can find in the game, or maybe you can craft. I think you can also craft them, where you go up to them and you can use souls to upgrade your stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So it's pretty important in that nature. I don't. We tried looking to see like, oh, what's the most popular one, or if there was like a particular mascot, and we decided to pick Anubis. It's like, okay, there's not really a Pikachu, it seems, but there's a Lucario.
There
That
sure is.
works.
Yeah.
So yeah, Anubis, known as the Guardian of the Dark Sun, is its title. It is a ground type PAL. They have, unlike, they have, there are less types, but they are pretty more or less the same types. Just looking at all of its kind of stuff that it. I mean, actually, we don't really need to discuss its abilities, but basically, it's got ground based attacks. Rock stuff, dirt stuff, sand stuff.
Right.
Pretty simple in that respect. Smash doesn't really have anything of that note. So if Anubis was to be added, it would be bringing in some new tools. So that's a big plus in its favor. But I think the biggest negative in Anubis is. The biggest negative against Anubis and really anything Palworld is the comparison. Because as soon as this game got any attention on it, everybody was comparing it to Pokemon. People were like telling Nintendo like, "Hey, these people have your Pokemon. It looks like it." And Nintendo and Game Freak are both releasing statements about needing to look into it. I don't think there's going to be any legal action to come out of it, besides what's already happened with some of the mods that they targeted, where people were adding Pokemon into the game. Which is like, okay, yeah, maybe don't do that, people.
Yeah.
But I think just based on all that comparison already alone, I think Nintendo is going to avoid it like the plague, no matter how good it gets. Like, they could be Game of the Year, Game of the Decade. I think Nintendo is going to avoid it like the goddamn plague.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, because the gameplay is so different, but the comparison is there in the design of the characters, and that's the issue.
Yeah.
And it's unavoidable. I mean, a lot of these things could plausibly be Pokemon. I mean, the way that they look, a lot of them are not that strong. Like Anubis is kind of funny.
There are some really good designs, I will say. Like, I've looked at them all. It's like, there's some good shit in here, but then there's also some that's like, okay, you literally have Sylveon's little tendrils that it has, the little ribbon twirls. You literally just have these. You are Eevee, but more of a cloud.
Melpaka. There is a cloud alpaca in this game.
Yes.
Enough said. There's also a character called Wumpo.
Yep. There is also a Depresso.
What?
Yeah. Depresso. Yeah. I do like Depresso. Depresso is great. I love the little guy.
God. Oh my gosh.
And then there are the ones that have like a really cool name, but their design is bad. Mozzarina. Mozzarina, amazing name. But when you look it up, it's a Moo Moo Meadows cow, but with Snorlax's face.
So it is.
So it is.
So it is. On the Palworld Wiki right now.
Yep.
We can figure that one out. Lavander. Ooh, I don't.
Yeah,
like
that one's literally Salazzle.
Yep.
But worse, because if you read its Dex article or Deck article, whatever the fuck it's called, it talks about how they literally do intentionally go out to seduce humans. They want
Oh my god. I do like how there's a character. They just give some of these human names. There's like literally a pal named Suzaku. Like, okay.
Yeah, there's a lot that pull like again Anubis.
Mossanda. I kind of enjoy that.
Yeah.
That's funny. Okay. But yeah, Anubis could bring a lot to the table theoretically. I mean, it's essentially an earthbending Lucario.
Yeah, more or less.
Yep, but give it Toph's moveset from the first Nickelodeon All-Stars Brawl, since they cut Toph in the second one for some reason.
Cut Toph, and then add in 3 firebenders, 2 as DLC. What the bitch?
Yep.
Like, yes, Iroh, Zuko, and Azula are all great characters, but you don't need to put all 3 of them in the fighting game when you remove Toph, and you also don't have a dedicated waterbender. You have Korra, but she's an avatar.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, no. It's just
Yeah.
bad.
Yeah. Also, you have the potential to just literally be Lucario, because, I mean, Power Bomb charges a massive amount of energy before firing a large destructive ball. It's like, whoa, okay.
Sounds like Aura Sphere to me.
Yep. Then, and of course, any of these characters, any of these pals could also wield a gun.
No, actually.
Really?
Actually, yeah. How it works is that each pal has a unique skill that is unique to its species. And some of them are like passive effects. Like there's one that if you have them in your party, then whenever you go and do wood cutting on a tree, you'll get more drops. But then there's some that require you to craft a special pal item, which when you have that item, you unlock a little skill for them. And for ones like the sheep, that's giving them a gun. For one that looks like, I don't remember what it's called, but there's one that looks like Vulpix. If you get its ability, you can pick up Vulpix and basically use it as a flamethrower. And there are some where their special ability is just like, okay, you can mount them as like a flying mount or a ground mount, whatever. Anubis' ability is just Guardian of the Desert. When fighting together, applies ground damage to the player's attacks. So if you are in there fighting with either your gun, bow and arrow, lance, whatnot, you'll get ground damage added to your weapon.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Well, they can mine, apparently.
Oh,
and if you kill them, you get a large pal soul, an innovative technical manual, and a bone.
Well, as possible drops.
Yeah. And what's this food? You have to feed them?
Yeah, there's a hunger meter for both the player and all the pals that are in your active party.
That sounds a little
Bit of a pain, yeah. Bit of a pain.
Yeah, this one is for the bird, just like the bread that you feed it. Which no pretenses here, 1%.
Yeah, easy 1%. Nintendo will avoid it like the plague.
Mm-hmm. And that, and I don't think. I mean, it's never going to be the game that people think it's going to be. I think we've already kind of hit its peak.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, when it gets new content drops, it'll hit a surge again. But Palworld, I don't think it was ever going to be like the huge game changer that everybody thought it was going to be. Like, let's be real, the internet and content, especially streamers, as a streamer myself, streamers tend to a lot of them like to ride the wave. You know, they see something, they want to jump on the bandwagon, which then creates further bandwagoning. It's how the internet works, and Palworld was flavor of the month.
Yeah, indeed. Oh, so it goes.
Yep. Onwards and sideways. Next one. Well, no, I can't really speak too much about because I didn't really do much with these things, but it's picture didn't reveal. There it is. Mamachi of Tamagotchi. What?
Yeah. Awesome.
Wait, wasn't that a digital pet toy?
Yes.
Feck. Okay.
Yes, it was.
Well, Tamagotchi is like the digital pet. I don't know if it was the first or whatever, but it was absolutely the one that you think about when you think of digital pet toys. Nothing else really. I mean, there were a few things that Digimon had digital pets, but it really became more about the games and the anime. But Tamagotchi was like king. Beyond that, I don't really know too much about it. I mean, Nintendo has partnered with Tamagotchi to a degree because Mamachi is in the Mario Kart arcade games, along with Pac-Man and a couple other things, I think. But beyond that, my knowledge isn't super high. There's a chance, but I don't think it's a very big one.
Mamachi is an alien?
Bitch, what?
Yeah, I'm trying to figure this out. It's a member of the Mame family, one of the 5 pure families of the Tamagotchi connection. They are the eldest sibling. You are able to marry them to another Tamagotchi. They're an adult male. Yeah, okay, they're alien robots. They are alien robots. Mamachi and their family. And apparently they're very tech forward. You can a lot of the toys that you can give this Tamagotchi are like electronic. They're in nature. There's an RC car. There's a
Sir, where are you getting this is an alien? Because I am on Mamachi's wiki page and I just did a Control F for alien and there were no results.
In the wild on the Smash Brothers on Tamagotchi Reddit subreddits.
You gotta get better sources, dude.
They're a bunny who was an alien robot.
I don't think that's true.
Yeah, look at it. Ain't that the case?
No.
Or it kind of looks like a smiley face too, with funny nubs.
Well, its default form before it becomes Mamachi is a smiley face ball. So that part is fair. Because it starts out as I had it, but then I scrolled elsewhere. It starts out as Maruchi, which is a yellow blob with a face. And then with enough good care and a good discipline meter, it can become Tamachi. And then further than that, it becomes Mamachi eventually.
Nice.
But Mamachi will only live for a maximum of 21 to 22 days, and then it dies.
Oh. Okay. All Tamagotchi are tiny aliens. There we go. They are tiny aliens who visit other planets, seemingly to learn more about them. And they were discovered by Professor Bonzo and his assistant Mikachu after a UFO carrying some of the aliens crash landed in the Sumida River in Tokyo.
Okay, there you go. They also came from Tamagotchi Planet, which has a face.
Of course it does. So, Mamachi can have a UFO up special?
I think Mamachi's entrance is going to be, you see the little digital Tamagotchi pet, and it walks around in the screen, and then it breaks out.
Yes.
I think that's an obvious choice.
Yeah, absolutely. God, there were so many different Tamagotchi toys too. Like, what? 30 of them so far?
Apparently, Mamachis are all male, and they are the male equivalent to Chantachi.
Interesting.
Which is wearing an apron.
Of course it is. Okay. The last Tamagotchi movie was a 10-minute OVA released in 2017.
I'm sorry, 10-minute movie? That's not a movie.
I know. What is it up here? A short film, they call it.
I wouldn't call that a short film.
No, Otodoke Dai Saksen. Okay, then.
Listen, if it's shorter than one of my episodes, than one of my Let's Play episodes on YouTube, then it is not a movie. No, I'm talking the Slick Star Gaming. If it's shorter than that, it ain't a feckin' movie.
There was a 7-season Tamagotchi anime. Like, oh my gosh.
Yeah, man. I think there's multiple animes even. Like, if we were to get anything from Tamagotchi, Mamachi is the Pikachu. So it makes sense. But I don't see it happening. I really don't. Nintendo had that partnership, but apparently that came from... it was in the second Mario Kart arcade game. It was right after Bandai and Namco had merged.
Yeah, so this is a Bandai character.
Yes.
Oh wow, the vintage plushies of Mamachi look so like okay.
When are we gonna get the
Um,
vintage Jonno plushie? What?
Yeah, you go and get one. I can give you mine. Okay, so yeah, it's not likely to happen. I agree. It's likelier than a pal. I'll give it that much.
Yeah.
Yep. This kind of comes from the world of Namco Bandai develops Smash. They've done it the last couple times. If, and this is a big if, you want to dip into the Bandai side of that, you have a couple of options. Mamachi is one of them. It's one of the few plausible things that could happen.
Yeah.
Doesn't mean that its chances are high at all.
It's not gonna be what's one of the animes that Bandai has? I honestly don't know. Do they make the Goku game? I don't know who makes the Goku. I think they do.
Yeah, they do. Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
it's not going to be Goku. I'm sorry, internet.
They
Mamachi
do.
has better
They do.
chances than Goku.
Yep. And Namco Bandai does a lot of the Shonen Jump stuff, like Goku, Naruto, One Piece. Yeah,
From what I've heard, their last Shonen fighting game
was
sucked.
horrible.
Yeah.
It's looks ugly too, like bad.
I mean,
Mhm.
it's something I feel like a lot of these crossover game people are failing with is like, hey, you guys know you got to make a good roster, right?
Mm-hmm.
Hello.
Yep. Put depresso in that shit. Come on, guys.
Jesus.
What do you think percentage is for Mamachi?
5.
I can go with that. Works.
All right, 5% Mamachi. Let's go. Next one. This one is ball, sort of. It's a slime from Dragon Quest. Wait, but
Not
Dragon
wrong.
Quest isn't a monster catching game. But have you heard of Dragon Quest Warrior? Oh no, sorry. Dragon Quest Monsters, or Dragon
Yes.
Warrior Monsters that was originally released in the U.S. I still have a copy of one of them back there.
Nice.
I lost my original though. I have a copy of the sequel. Great game. I had a lot of fun with it. Did not understand what I was doing and never beat it. But Slime is honestly more so than Hero is, or any of the heroes, Erdrick or whoever. Slime's the mascot of the Dragon Quest series.
Unquestionably, yeah.
And Sakurai has even talked about how Slime was considered to be the Dragon Quest rep for Smash before they chose to go with the hero.
Mm-hmm.
Personally, I think they went with the right choice. Character over generic enemy, but it is absolutely possible that we can get a second Dragon Quest rep and that it would be the Slime. I think most people would go like, "What the fuck?" But
Right.
Dragon Quest is a hard series to give multiple characters to, because I wouldn't. Granted, I've only played a couple of the games, but when every game is kind of like Final Fantasy, it's an anthology series, so every game is different setting, characters, and whatnot. But unlike Final Fantasy, the main character of each game is just hero, a different hero, sure, but they don't have a canon name. I mean, for the most part, and they're only known as hero. The player's supposed to name them, so it's not like a Cloud that you can get attached to, or a Terra, or a Noctis, or a Cecil.
Mm-hmm.
So then it's like, okay, if they were to get a second character, you're either adding in a one-off villain, which I don't know if any of the villains have any of that kind of staying power like Sephiroth or Kefka does.
Right.
Or you go with a party member, which I guess you just pick random popular one, which is, Jessica, I guess?
Mm-hmm.
Or somebody from the newest game, which I guess would probably be Sylvando.
Mm-hmm.
Or you do Slime.
Yeah, easily.
Who was in everything Dragon Quest. And Slimes have even been heroes, such as in Dragon Quest Heroes Rocket Slime, my game, called Slime Mori Mori in Japan, where they had 3 games and we only got the second game released. But it did have those capabilities. There are multiple slime monsters that they can pull from for inspiration for different moves and whatnot, like involving the Slime Knight or the Drag Slime, the Heal Slime, the Bubble Slime. There's a lot they could do with it, and I think it's even made an appearance in Mario Sports Mix, I believe. But it all depends on one, are we going to get a second Dragon Quest character, and two, are we going to spend that slot on a generic enemy, which to be fair is face the franchise. But would they do that, or would they do it to a character that actually has character?
Right. I kind of fear what that would look like if they went for a character outside of Slime, because theoretically they can just go flavor of the month again and give us another iteration of like a party member or whatever from the latest game. I'm not normally about that. I think the more we stick to the legacy aspect of Smash, it's better for the roster.
Yeah.
Um,
Flavor of the month is one thing when it's like the main protagonist. Like,
mm-hmm.
if our next Final Fantasy character was Clive, but like, alright, it makes sense. It's not my
Mm-hmm.
choice, but I get it.
Yeah.
But when your main character is generic hero and you already have generic hero and they're kind of supposed to be like a all rolled into this thing, like,
Mm-hmm.
doesn't work. You can't have hero and hero.
Mm-hmm.
That doesn't work.
Right. And as far as a villain goes, I guess the deeper you go into the lore, maybe the better as well. Like Dragon Lord could potentially work, being the first game's boss, and I think pretty much the only one that has crossed over into things like Fortune Street, off the top of my head, or something with a lot of staying power, like Malroth or something, which would be weird. Otherwise, like Jessica could work, a very popular party member from a previous game, but it would just feel odd. To me, when you have Slime right there, yes, it's a generic enemy, but it's also so ubiquitous. It's one of those characters that you are walking around a fucking Target, and it's like, oh, there's a Slime plush just there.
Yeah.
Like it's one of those things that has pervaded well past just gamer culture, and it's a super popular thing, to the point where I'm not surprised it was considered as a character, and I mean doubly so since we got Piranha Plant at the end of it all.
Yep.
So I mean Piranha Plant's technically broken that rule. Slime is super popular. Slime would have been better than Piranha Plant in a way. The moveset of Piranha Plant's pretty interesting. The choice is odd. The choice is off-putting.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't necessarily rank it high, but it's double digits. It's a lot higher than the other two.
I don't think I would say a lot higher than the other two, but I would say that it's higher.
Mm-hmm. I think ultimately it comes down to do we get a second Dragon Quest character? It feels unnecessary, but we're also talking about this from a largely Western lens. Like it's such a tremendous series in Japan. It could happen. You just kind of don't know.
It's more likely that I want it to be, really.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But not as a disservice to Slime, but more because previous thoughts that I've said about generic enemies and more than one rep from the same third party franchise.
Right.
I like Slime in terms of Dragon Quest, like sure.
Yeah.
But in Smash, I'm against it.
Mm-hmm.
But I kind of feel like it might be the most likely thing for a second Dragon Quest rep.
Right, I agree.
But I also don't think we would get a second Dragon Quest rep. If we're going to get more from Square Enix, it's probably going to be either a third Final Fantasy or it's going to be Chrono. I would say Laura Croft, but Square don't have her anymore. Actually, no, 2B. I forgot 2B is a possibility.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's not going to be
Chrono.
whoever the characters from the Thief game.
Mm-hmm. Wait. What?
I don't think they own Hitman anymore. I think they sold that along with Tomb Raider.
Oh, interesting.
Maybe. I'm not entirely sure about that one. That might not be true.
Mm-hmm.
But I still have doubts of Agent 47 getting the Smash. I don't know about that.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. I this feels kind of high, but I don't know. 15?
That does feel high to me. I'm only saying 10.
Okay.
All right, 12.5% with that one.
Nice.
Next up, well, they're
Darth
not.
Maul.
What?
It's a monster in some respects.
Who did you say?
Darth Maul.
No.
No, not today.
No. No, instead it's something that for years people would ask its creator, hey, does this have one eye or two? Because the art only shows one eye. It's like, that's because you're seeing a side profile, dipshit. It's, wait, Shiryu from Neopets? What? Wait, hold up. This isn't a monster catching game. No, it's a pet simulator. It's more or less the same thing. It counts. And there's a battle dome. You can make them fight.
You can. You can.
So yeah, Shiryu is here. This is feels like an odd one to talk about. Neopets had its fucking heyday though. It was extremely popular back in the day. I played on it a lot. I fell off over time, but you know, I had the magazine. I had the trading cards. They had a convention near my city once, and I went there, and I got to spin a wheel to get a prize. And you know what was my prize?
What?
A copy of the magazine, which I already fucking had a subscription to. I was like, really?
That would have been a sure plushie or something. Apparently not.
Would have been nicer. I never did have any Neopets plushes. Actually, no, I thought... No. No, I did.
No.
I don't know what happened to it, but I know I had a Gellert.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like I had something else. But Shiryu. We included Shiryu on here because it is, at least, I don't know if it still is, but it was, at the time, the most popular Neopet. Ranked number 1. It's also a rare one to get, which makes me wonder how it is the most the most commonly owned when it's supposed to be rare. I don't quite understand. Neopets had this weird thing where they would like arbitrarily decide that some Neopets aren't available to be created for just reasons, and then they would unlock like 100 every so often. Like, okay, hey, look, there's 100 Shiryus in the wild. Go get them, and you can just get them there. But then they would be locked away again forever. It's like, okay, that's kind of stupid.
Yeah,
that was always dumb.
Mm-hmm.
And I wonder when that was implemented, because when I first joined, I picked a Jet Sam to be one of my pets and made 4 pets my first day. And Jet Sam was supposed to be one of those that is rare. It's only available at certain times, so I guess I just got fucking lucky? I guess?
Probably.
I don't know. It's a thing. I don't even know how I stumbled onto Neopets one day. I just like, oh, hey, here's the thing. I'll do this now forever. But Shiryu, I mean... Neopets fell off hard when the owners left the company. It became all about Neocash and spending real money currency on items in the game and being able to dress up your pets, which never was a thing before then. But it has recently gotten new owners who is trying to revitalize the site. I don't know how successful they're going to be, but considering that the previous owners only released like 1 or 2 new pets and no new worlds or no major plot lines after they took over, and those new pets were very soon into the takeover. Hey, I mean, revitalize the way, give it a shot. Although I'm not sure if it's the new owner or the previous owners, but apparently somebody was trying to do NFT bullshit. Hopefully that's not the new owner, but you never know. My local convention is actually going to have a Neopets booth this year. I'm just like, wait, what? Huh. Okay. Interesting. I wasn't sure if I'm not sure if I'm going to go this year, but if I do, I'm going to stop by the booth because I mean, I have to. But you know, they had a video game on the PlayStation, The Darkest Fairy. My brother and I liked it. But In Smash? No, it ain't gonna happen. I don't. I also don't think it would be a generic pet if somebody was to get into Smash. I think it would be like a specific character, and who even that could be, I don't know. Maybe Doctor Sloth, uh, one of the fairies. Even then, I don't know who it would be. Besides, like the Fairy Queen or the Space Fairy, or I don't know like who would be a good central character. Even it's maybe somebody.
Gargarox.
Do what?
Gargarox.
That sounds like a growl.
Gargarox Isafilarg, the Grundo chef from Grundo's Cafe.
All right, fair enough. But I'm thinking probably maybe like one of the characters that was involved in the TCG or the Darkest Fairy plot, not the video game. Although I think that character was involved in the TCG, but like from the Altador plot from the site maybe. So something along there is where I would imagine a character would be taken. But I also just don't think Neopets will happen. Period. Anything from it.
Yeah, and I wonder, it's is speaking again from the Western lens, how Western oriented is this? Because it blew up in the States, like unquestionably back in the early 2000s. But was this even a needle drop in Japan? Who knows? I mean, Shoiru is a Japanese name that means small dragon, which I just read on the Neopets wiki. I don't have any clue what it would do. I guess fly around and
I mean, they would probably give it stuff that like you can do even in the Battle Dome, just different weapons.
Oh, true.
Because there's millions of weapons probably not this way or items that you can use in the Battle Dome. Pull from that or. There is a RP. There are two RPGs inside of Neopets, not kind of the Darkest Fairy game, but there's Neo Quest and Neo Quest 2, and they could take some of the mechanics from that and attach them to a character. However, the combat works in those games, I played them both, but I don't remember because it's been an eternity. It's been an eternity. But you absolutely could do stuff to make a Neopets character fight. If we're going for a generic pet, Shiryu may be the best option, not only because it's popular, but because it's got a good design that I think would work well. Something like the Kiko. Kiko's not going to work in Smash. Not a fucking chance would Kiko work in Smash. Most of them, I would say, would not have good designs to be a playable fighting game character. But Shiryu could work. It's got proper dimensions.
There's just flat out one where Soiru becomes a turtle? Okay.
Oh, is that the Moroccan brush? Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That's another thing with a Neopets character is that your alts are so easy. Whether you go the basic colors or the more fun stuff. Because there's a multitude of paintbrushes that you can paint the pets all different colors, and some things are just like, okay, now you're green, yellow, red, blue, purple with orange spots. But then there's more of ones that are like stripes or mutant or baby or Halloween, translucent, zombie, gray, as in depressed, that kind of gray.
Depresso Strikes Back. Elderly boy and elderly girl.
Yeah. Then there are some of the like exclusives, like certain pets, like the Chias have a bunch of different like fruits and vegetables that they can turn into. Or the Usels can turn into Royal Boy and Royal Girl Usels. But there's a fuck ton of different things that you could do there.
I like how the desert alt for Soiru is just Anubis again. That's pretty funny.
Yeah.
There's a Santa one too.
There's a lot. There's a lot of brushes. There's a lot. There's a lot of good alts. There really are.
Yeah, this is fun. This is fun in like such an exclusively like early internet way. Very entertaining. But yeah, it's not happening.
No.
It's not happening.
Honestly, I put on the same level as Anubis, but for different reasons. I think it's 1% as well.
I agree.
Not very high numbers today.
Nope.
Do you think this last one will change that?
Maybe in a way. and to a degree.
Let's find out.
Okay.
That's not a monster.
Who knows?
That's
Perhaps
that's
one day.
Oliver from Ni no Kuni
Oh my gosh.
and the Nose Kid with the lantern.
Yes.
All right,
I
so what
think.
the fuck? Why is Oliver here? This is not a monster. He doesn't.
Mhm.
Jonno, what's going on here? You picked this character.
Yep. I did because Oliver is a spellcaster who has the ability to convince familiars to join him on his quest throughout the Ni no Kuni adventure. So, alongside what he's able to do, with the magic that he is capable of using and the weapons that he's capable of using, he can bring in his pals, familiars, to fight alongside him. Just like your dry erase markers there. So there are more familiars than I thought there were by a large number. There are 452 of them. That
What?
are essentially Pokemon, and they fight. In the way they function, they fight alongside you and have a number of moves that you can command them to gravitate towards using in the midst of battle. So I mean, Drippy is, not one of the fighters like that, but he is the secondary main character. But there are like a number of little beast characters that fight alongside Oliver in the game that you can capture.
And I'm seeing here that he has a particular affinity with three different families of these creatures: the Millites, Vermes, and Dracones, which are basically, I guess, knights, bugs, and dragons.
Mm-hmm. That's how I would categorize it in life. Put the knights over there with the bugs, dragons.
So I guess you could just do like, I would probably give him like one thing from each of those families for a different or
Mm-hmm.
see, I don't know, maybe because he also just has his own magic to use.
He does.
So I don't really know how you would approach him unless you maybe want to have like maybe put the monsters on all of his like normals. His normals, his smashes, the aerials, all of that is different monsters, but then he uses his spells on his specials.
That would be pretty fun. Um, yeah, that would work. And I mean, there are a couple of standout familiars. There are the mites, as you said, the sword wielding knight, little oni frog things. I think.
Hurlabaloo.
Mm-hmm.
Godforsaken. Puss in Boats.
Yes.
Puss in Bouts.
Hercules.
Cut Purse.
I, sir. There's a surly I that helps you on your journey.
Midday Flutterby is one of the bugs. Trapper Snapper.
Nice. Don Key.
We have Dragamuffin for our dragon. Scrap Dragon.
Mm-hmm.
Destroceros. Flap Dragon. Bedraggle. Blessy Plessy. Not to be confused with Blushy Crushy. There's also Stressy Plussy and Messy Plussy. All right, on the scale of Messy Plussy to Stressy Plussy, where are you?
On Oliver's chances.
No, like you personally. Are you a Messy Plussy or are you a Stressy Plussy?
Generally probably stressy plussy.
Yeah, fucking same.
Although, I'm not stressed, I'm just elevated. That's what they say in the inspirational talks that all those funny guys do on the internet.
Yeah.
Messy Plessy, Stressy Plessy.
Duck-billed bopper.
um, Duck build, yeah, that's the thing.
Yeah.
Looks intimidating in a way.
But with Oliver having all that, I believe, correct me if I'm wrong here, if I'm remembering correctly, Ni no Kuni is a level 5 game. To be able to make Professor Layton.
Yeah.
And I was looking up some serious information about it earlier. Ni no Kuni, they had their two original games, and they remade those games, and then they ported the remakes several years later on more modern consoles. And then there's a mobile game, and that's pretty much it. I think. I think it's just those. And the sequel got ported 3 years ago. Where's the next Ni no Kuni? It feels like, okay, it's been 3 years. It's about that time for a new one, I would think. Although, are they supposed to be working on a Professor Layton as well, and we haven't seen anything from that in a while?
Yeah, it looks like the last couple of Ni no Kuni releases were ports. Like Switch got Ni no Kuni 2 in 2021. And then the Crossworlds, that mobile game, came out in 2022 in the West. Yeah, level 5 is still a smaller studio, I guess. There's not a whole lot. Though there was a Ni no Kuni anime too, apparently. Interesting.
I mean, Oliver looks like a Studio Ghibli character.
He is, essentially. Yeah, the first game was made in partnership with Ghibli.
That makes sense.
Joe Hisaishi, the famous composer from the Ghibli films, composed the music for the game as well.
See, I thought you were missing Joe Zija, the VA for Claude from Three Houses. I was like, what? The fuck?
No. Yeah. It's relevant still as a series, but it could use a refresh. It could use something new.
I mean, it's the closest. I feel like he's the closest we will get to a Studio Ghibli representation.
Oh yeah, Totoro's not going to be coming in here anytime soon.
No. Similarly, I mean, Hero is the closest thing we will ever get to Goku because it's Akira Toriyama.
Yeah. And Namco does publish Ni no Kuni in most level 5 publishers in Japan, but Namco will publish literally everywhere else.
That's something I don't understand about some games companies. Like, why is this game published by different companies in different regions? I don't get what's going on there.
I don't know. But I guess level 5 just doesn't have the money. But why would they do it in Japan? I
don't know.
Whole other topic I don't know nothing about. But he has better chances than most of these characters, at least. It's just like I don't know if they're good per se. Like, I mean, even within the scope of level 5, you have Professor Layton. I don't know how relevant he would be to the discussion now, but when that new game comes out, yeah.
I mean, even then with Professor Layton, though, I feel like Layton's competition is Phoenix Wright. Like, you can't think of Layton without thinking of Wright in terms of, like, similar ideas for characters, and I feel like you go Wright over Layton.
It's like Spyro versus Crash, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that may put Oliver in his own pocket to mention then, because there's still merit there. I mean, he doesn't necessarily have to stand beside Layton in that case.
Yeah.
Yokai Watch is still going on. That's level 5.
That's also level 5? Jeez.
Yeah. But I don't know. What are you thinking in terms of percentages here?
I do think it's at worst a 10% with Slime. I would not want to put him lower than Mamachi or with Anubis and Joryo. The only other number that's really come to mind, though, that feels too. I'm gonna go with 15. There's a chance. I don't think it's a great chance, but I think That entire 15% is wild card.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I agree. I agree.
All right. It's a hard one to kind of judge.
Mm-hmm.
But there we go. There's
There we
our
go.
RTC for the evening.
Absolutely.
Are you ready for some smash or dash?
Yeah.
Good.
Are these Pikmin on a weird shaped piece of concrete?
I
Yeah,
have
they
that
are.
one somewhere. In a box.
I like this quite a bit. This is a really fun one.
Oh yeah, I agree. Where's the
Mhm.
Ochi amiibo?
That is a goddamn shame that there's not a no Jimmy though. We got Sora right there.
Yeah,
Oh
we
yeah.
do.
You got an amiibo with Mickey Mouse's head on it.
How much did that cost?
$2 million.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Well, let's get our Smash Chess characters up here on the board. So we're starting things off here. You know, it's all about not Pokemon here today, and we talked about some of these gamings that are like this, but we haven't talked about any of the big ones. So, gee, I wonder, do you think maybe we were saving them for the big Smash or Dash? Yeah, probably it's in the title. It's not a surprise to anybody. So, Agumon versus. Oh, actually, I guess I should say Agumon from Digimon versus Jibanyan from I forgot what it's called.
Yokai Watch.
Thank you. You just talked about it. Jibanyan from Yokai Watch versus Suezo from Monster Rancher versus Oree from Tim. It's a not Pokemon Battle Royale. We do this once a season because it's fun.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So, Jonno, why don't you go ahead and take off the lead here and talk about Agumon?
Here are 5 ways Agumon can still get into Smash Ultimate.
Oh no.
Nah, I'm just kidding. Like Tamagotchi, Digimon started as a digital toy. And it was sold for cheap in the toy section of stores back in the early 2000s and I think late 90s. Very similar, and it's like kind of the cool, because 90s and early 2000s marketing and toys were very much boy versus girl. This was like the boy version of Tamagotchi. It's like, well, look at all this, so high tech.
Whoa!
Got this buff dragon.
I got a dino.
Yeah.
And now he's bigger and he has metal on him. Whoa.
Versus the alien thing, bunny. Yeah.
Yep.
That can get married and start a family. It's like, okay. And the apron bunny. All that to say, Digimon, unlike Tamagotchi, Tamagotchi has more accoutrement than we would know in the States. They have the numerous anime, etc., etc. Digimon really became known for its anime, though, in the early 2000s. So much so that there was a culture war in the West, at the very least, of Digimon versus Pokemon. Which one would come up on top?
I don't know. I think it's Suezo.
So that it's a snapshot of where we were at in gaming culture back then. Something that was talked about in mainstream news quite a bit, along with Mario versus Sonic, that sort of thing. Also like Yu-Gi-Oh versus Pokemon TCG, Magic, whatever. It falls within that category.
I think Yu-Gi-Oh is more against Magic than Pokemon.
Yeah, Magic as well. It was a unique time. But
Sailor Moon versus Dragon Ball.
Yeah. Again, very, very gender oriented. It's like,
yes.
What was wrong? What was wrong with us?
What was wrong with Ginger Wars in the 90s? Yeah, gee, I wonder what was making us do those.
Yeah. But yeah, Digimon started in a certain way and then blew up. It blew up into numerous video games over the decades, as well as the anime that I think is still going on in some iteration. So it's still a pretty hot commodity. Pokemon obviously won that culture war, but Digimon has a respectable spot in a
It's
lot of
still
them.
around.
For sure.
One of their best games is on the Switch. Cyber Sleuth.
Sure. For sure. A few of them too. The Digimon Survivor is pretty well regarded too.
I've heard it's not.
Really? And
Yes.
in my circles, they've been saying, "Oh, it's okay. Digimon Survive." Yeah, 90% like this game. Okay, either which way. Yeah. So Agumon is kind of the Pikachu of this world. It's the closest thing.
It's both the Pikachu and the Charmander.
Mm-hmm. Potent blend. Kind of talks like Charmander too, except in full sentences.
I don't know how that's kind of like Charmander's talking at all.
Sorry, tone. Charmander's tone. Like,
whatever.
He has numerous, like 20 or so different attacks that it can do. And it also has Digivolution, which, as we've discussed before, probably also on this podcast, don't know how it would exactly work in Smash, but you have to have it in there somewhere where he's transforming into Greymon or War Greymon or any of the new
Metal Greymon, and I was going down the list of like, okay, what are some of the forms he's got? First of all, Agumon can become a lot of different things besides just Greymon itself, but then Greymon can become a few different things, being Metal Greymon. But then from there it can become War Greymon, which goes into. Hang on, I'm getting there. Omnimon.
Oh, that's right.
It finishes off at Omnimon Merciful Mode.
Merciful.
That is the farthest that particular line of it goes. But then they can also become Centaurmon instead of Greymon, and then I'm sure it has a different complete track there. Yeah, it goes from Centaurmon to Sagittariumon. Wow. And then that one apparently stops there. That one stops pretty early. But the main one that people know is Agumon, Greymon, Metal Greymon, Warmon.
Oh, he flat out turns into like an Angel Gundam as Omnimon Merciful Mode. Okay.
Yeah, apparently that's not uncommon either.
Centaurmon, I remember that from the anime back in the day.
Yeah, I don't know the mechanics of how Digievolution works besides the fact that they go back down after a while. I don't really understand that. I've never played a Digimon. I've only seen the bare minimum of Digimon anime or any of that. The easy route would be just give him his fire and claw attacks for all of his regular stuff, but then Final Smash, either give him a Greymon transformation or skip a few steps and jump up to like Metal Greymon or something, and then do a big attack with that.
I think I would do it, just have him transform into War Greymon or Metal Greymon in the Final Smash.
Yeah.
That's how I would do it anyway. Old school. Yeah, there he is.
I feel like there might even be something where they skip steps. I'm not entirely sure about that. I'm not the expert, but I feel like that's a thing.
I mean, just like Pokemon and Yu-Gi-Oh! For that matter, now that we brought that into discussion briefly earlier, anything that lasts for a long time in this realm tends to get a little convoluted.
Hello, Yu-Gi-Oh!
Yeah. So I would not be surprised. Like, oh, you could skip a step, you could throw a fucking feed the Pokemon a crystal and whatever. It's like, okay.
And you skip straight to Omnimon.
Yep.
Omnimon versus Omni-Man.
God, I wonder how that would turn out.
Somebody would be dead. I don't know who, but one of them would be dead.
Absolutely.
I don't know enough about either. I'm sure somebody would get upset if I said one would win over the other, so I'm not going to say shit. This is not that show. That's Death Battle.
There are levels to it. There are levels to the power of these creatures. We'll talk about it one day.
Don't think we will.
Yeah. Omni-Man versus Taskmaster is Mortal Kombat, which is funny because there's an obvious answer there. Anyway.
Yeah. Next up, though, we have Jibanyan from Yokai Watch. Jibanyan is much like how Agumon is the Pikachu of
You're
Digimon.
right.
No. Let's talk about
Oh,
Agumon
yeah.
there. Jibanyan is the Pikachu of Yokai Watch. Jibanyan is a dead cat. It got run over by a car and it died.
What the fuck?
Yep.
What the
It
hell?
is the fire element. I don't know if he's like. I don't really know how like the starter system works in Yokai Watch. I don't know if they have a starter system or if you just get a Jibanyan, but they evolve apparently. Uh,
Mhm.
in the first three Yokai Watch games, Jibanyan will evolve to Thornyan, which is basically Jibanyan but wearing a cactus outfit.
Oh my god.
Yeah, and then oh no, it evolves into that when fused with Cough Cough. So apparently it's a fusion slash evolution process of
What?
something. I don't know. But
Of
or he can become Badanyan when fused with Ruffraff. And Badanyan is, oh my god. It's punk. It's punk, Japanese punk Jibanyan, whatever they call that. Oh
awesome.
boy, because he's got the pompadour and the biker jacket and the shades. And okay,
Oh.
all right, yeah, that's a thing.
I see it
That
now.
is a thing.
Mm-hmm.
But then another game becomes Jibanyan S when fused with Jibanyan A, which is very stupid. It's just Jibanyan with the red aura. Ooh, wow, yeah, that one's fun.
Mm-hmm.
But it's the yokai of the yokais. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
they got firepower. He can punch with his fists. Apparently, he can also fight trucks, which is probably because the truck killed him. His signature ultimate move is called Paused
Okay.
Fury, which is him rapidly punching with his claws. He can't evolve, but he can fuse. That's what it's saying. I guess some of them can evolve, but other ones cannot. Another thing he can evolve into is Buchinyan, which is Jibanyan wearing a weird, torn up ghost sheet. Like people put a sheet over themselves to be a ghost. It looks kind of like that, but it's torn up. And of the Jibanyan fusion, it's the dumbest looking one. I'm sure I just insulted somebody that loves it, but I don't care.
Oh yeah, what is that?
It's dumb. It's dumb. And that's Jibanyan. Uh,
Yeah.
Sharp claws and fire, just like Agumon, except it's a cat and not a dino, and it's a dead cat and not a living dino. It's dead.
What a bitch. It's
You know how Mew? We all thought Mew was under the truck. No, it turns out there's a different cat under the truck.
God. Okay.
Hey.
The Pompadour wins the day. I will give it that much for starters. Yeah, moving on to everyone's favorite eyeball. Suezo from Monster Rancher.
I
What
love
a
this guy.
yeah, what a thank you. What a thing. So Suezos are one-eyed monsters. So there are multiple of them. This is a species.
Yeah.
But they're like a Suezo, like in the Monster Rancher anime, etc., etc. But they are neurotic by nature. What a sentence starter. And are naturally intelligent and can eventually develop telekinesis and telepathy. They're born with either a blue or green retina, so alternate costumes, anyone. They're some of the very most popular Monster Rancher monsters, so much so that they're the base of the series, essentially. And they're in multiple, like freaking everywhere. They're in some markets, as almost as ubiquitous as slime. Like they are hugely popular in Asia, to the
And
point that they've crossed over into other games like Super Monkey Ball.
Also, like slime, while there is Suezo the monster, there's also the Suezo family of monsters. There's a lot of
Mhm.
like different alternates,
Yeah,
alternate versions of Suezos.
absolutely. So it's a psychic monster. Yeah, that and the description from the first Monster Rancher game for Suezo, his specialty is stealing an opponent's will.
Oh no!
Monster Rancher 2, it is popular because of its human-like expressions.
Mm-hmm.
Gooey duck looking ass, right here. Oh, and apparently he has an Egyptian background like that.
Based off the
Swayze,
Eye of Horus.
yeah, based off the Eye of Horus, named after the Suez Canal in Egypt. Interesting. Okay, well there he is. He's an eyeball that kind of hops and floats around and can control your will.
Oh no!
Oh no.
All right, last up here in this not Pokemon Battle Royale, we have Oree from Tim Tim, which prior to Palworld hitting the scene was the most recent challenger for Pokemon's throne, and is a lot closer to Pokemon than Palworld is. With you have a team of
Oh,
5, you have gyms that you go challenge around a region to get badges or whatever their equivalent is. And there's, I assume, a league at the end. I have not finished the game yet. Way of Trill and I had been playing for a bit, but we kind of sometimes it's hard to get time to play games with multiple people. So it's kind of
yeah.
on the back. It's been on the back burner, but I think we're up to 3 badges in that one now. Or whatever the terminology is. But
Mhm.
Tim Tim, kind of like when we were picking out with Anubis, there wasn't really like a central one that I could find that seemed like a good choice to discuss here. There wasn't really like a Pikachu. Like there's 3 starters, but they're not treated with reverence like Bulbasaur, Charmander, and Squirtle are, because you all the starters you can just catch in the wild in different places. It's
Wow,
like they're just
hey.
they're not rare like starters in Pokemon typically are. So I decided to have the Oree be our Tim Tim representation here for a couple reasons. One, when it comes to the types of Tim Tim, like fire, water, grass, and whatnot, uh, there are less types in Pokemon, but most of them tend to match up. Nature is a combination of grass and bug types.
Mhm.
But then beyond that, like, there's normally only a couple of Pokemon types that aren't represented at all, and I feel like it's Steel, Dark, Fairy, and Ghost. I feel like are the ones that that don't have any kind of representation. But there is a few that are new, such as Crystal. But you could more or less say Crystal is rock types. But
Mhm.
then there's Digital type, which really has no equivalent with Pokemon besides Porygon, which is a normal type Pokemon. And
Mhm.
Oree is a digital type. Digital, in terms of Tim Tim lore, if I'm remembering correctly, digital is a recently discovered type. And I think Oree might be man-made. It actually might be a man-made type entirely. I don't remember this for sure. So that was one big reason why I looked at it. But the other one is, this is actually the signature Tim, signature
The
Tim
signature
of
pal.
your rival, of your
Mhm.
character's rival. So it's like, okay, anybody should know what
Mhm.
Oree is from that response thing because your
Yeah.
rival is going to have one, and I
Mhm.
don't think it evolves. Yeah, actually, yeah, digital Temtems were created. I just found that part, so that's a completely new thing. Whereas some Pokemon are created. It's not an entirely artificial type of Pokemon, so
Mhm.
there's a bit of a new thing there. And oh, it does evolve. It evolves to Zalbian after 35 levels. Important distinction: Tim-Tims don't evolve at level 35. They evolve 35 levels after you catch them or hatch them from an egg, which can be a
Interesting.
bitch.
Mhm.
I don't like it. I don't
Mhm.
like it. But yeah, Oree. In Oree move wise, it's got some crystal moves, it's got digital moves, it's got wind, electric, uh, psychic. And then what
Mhm.
is this? Is it toxic? It's not poison type, but toxic type move. It's got good
Interesting.
variety there.
for sure. It has a pleasing aesthetic to it too. I like the way it looks.
Yeah, he's like a little robot.
Yeah, for sure. Look, I'm trying to remember what it reminds me of. Maybe a little, maybe, maybe a little, yeah,
Robot
kind of.
bunny.
Maybe a little Monita in there.
What?
Or Monita from Nintendo Land.
Oh, Monita. Yeah, okay.
Mm-hmm. All right. So there's our 4 guys. What are we gonna do about it? It's a battle royale.
Oree, use Tesla Prism. Prison, not Prism. Shit.
Tesla.
Yeah, it's the move that they learn at level 15. It's an electric type move. And if I read its details will say Tesla Prison deals damage to a single other target and inflicts them with speed down.
Mm-hmm. So
that's the thing that's actually, just to go on a brief mention about Temtem and how it works, that all your battles are double battles, and there are some moves that get power-ups if the Temtem that it's battling alongside is a specific type.
Mm-hmm.
Which is a pretty interesting concept. I'd like to see Pokemon introduce some moves like that to use in later gens. Unfortunately, they'll kind of be useless outside of double battles, but it's a cool concept.
Yeah, yeah, definitely.
That's a great way to mix things up and stand out.
So, would you recommend Temtem? Like, if I were to play it?
If you want to play a not Pokemon game, but that is still very similar to Pokemon, yeah, go for it.
Okay, gotcha. Sweet.
You can even do it co-op, and then whoever you're playing with, you'll each send out one Tim at a time.
Nice. Okay. Cool. Suezo, use Yodel. That's apparently something Suezo does.
Yeah, I mean, I'm looking at the moves here that we have. Agumon and Jibanyan seem like they pretty much have the same kind of stuff. It's just claw attacks, punches, probably a bite attack, and then fire of some.
Yeah.
No, whether it's a fire breath or fireballs. Basically, just fire stuff. Suezo, though, it has tail assault. It has tongue slap, bite, kiss, chow down. It's a lot more physical. There's eye beam, though, so you can have like a little chargeable laser attack. There's a teleport goodie. Yodel,
Hooray!
as you mentioned.
It's a counter.
It gets Meteor and Suezo Beam in Monster Rancher 3.
Oh my gosh.
Iris Beam in Monster Rancher 4. And then apparently that move got retired immediately after that. So it's got a curing type move.
Very much it's Cyclops. It is Cyclops from X-Men. But a ball.
Sure.
Yeah. So many beams coming out of its eyes.
And then Oree has moves like Data Burst, Mechanical Heat, Overclock, Cold Breeze, Tesla Prison, Heat Up, Turbo Attack, Crystal Bite, Frond Whip, Telekinetic Shrapnel, and Wastewater.
Mm-hmm.
So we have 2 that are Firing Claws. We have 1 that is physical slaps and bites and just bashes and then eye beams. And then Oree has like a actual good spread of stuff to build off of.
Yeah. Imagine getting kissed by Suezo.
I don't want to.
And I love the default image that everybody uses for Suezo. Like it's the main one on the wiki. It's the main one I'm looking at here when somebody on DeviantArt is talking about Smash potential. It's just everywhere where he's just smugly staring at the camera.
I mean, well, that's not the picture I have on here. Because I want a picture that didn't have a background and it didn't look like it was crap.
Yeah. But it's pretty funny.
But mine does still look smug.
Yep. I just love that this thing is so beloved. Like a whole nation of gamers loves this thing, and it is so ugly. It is so
it's so ugly, but I'm also intrigued by it.
It is so antithetical to just the Pokemon way, right? Like you think of this fucking big-eyed baby animal that people, oh wow, look at the thing that's cute, wow. And then there's Suezo. There's Suezo, and there's like that platypus looking thing that's also not that cute.
The only
It's
other one I
amazing.
remember was like some kind of golem thing. I don't
Me
remember
too.
anything else.
Yeah, it's pretty great. It's pretty great. Uh, he may not have much to do with moveset potential though, unfortunately, but there's
I
more there than we thought.
disagree.
Okay.
I mean,
The
yeah,
different
it's stuff
items, I
like
mean,
bite and lick and tongue slap and tail assault, but it's
yeah,
better than punch fireball.
yeah.
Like I'll say it here. I think personally, I think there's one that we can easily knock out.
Okay.
Despite the fact that they might be the second most relevant right now, I would knock out Jibanyan first. Like I would just kill it off
Mhm.
because like we're picking two winners here because this is battle royale. And if it was like between, if this wasn't a battle royale, then I think Jibanyan might have a chance, unless it was against Agumon. But compare Jibanyan to Agumon, the two of them are going to be doing the same pool of options with their moves, and Agumon
Mhm.
kicks Jibanyan's ass in every single way, other than being a dead cat. That's the only category where Jibanyan wins, in my opinion. So I would knock out Jibanyan, like because I
Mhm.
don't think we would add it. We would pick both.
No, absolutely not.
It's like
Absolutely.
kill the dead cat, throw them back under the truck,
They're already
run them
used to it.
over a couple more times, hit them so hard they go into an isekai.
Yeah, they cross over into Digimon.
Yeah, they become Jibanmon.
It writes itself. There you go.
Sure
With the
does.
pompadour and all. The pompadour, that's the best
Where
part
yeah,
about
it goes from Jibanmon to Badmon.
it. The fucking whatever it's called, the pompadour Jibanyan, it looks so dumb. It is
Badman.
so funny. It is so funny. I agree though. I mean, if they have kind of the same pool to go from, Digimon is so insurmountable compared to Yokai Watch.
Yeah.
It is the largest presence here, and certainly there's no match between those two. And then Jibanyan's problem after that is, I mean, versus Oree or versus Suezo, it's just less interesting.
Yeah. I mean, sure, we could do something with it, but Oree has a lot of tools at his disposal to make an interesting looking move set, pulling from different elements. And then Suezo is comedy. Suezo the hilarious to see fight, and it's got stuff that it can do.
Yeah, absolutely. It's not, yeah, it's functional comedy. Like, we wouldn't be putting them in just because it's funny. Like, there's some legitimacy there. There is.
Yes, but a lot of it because it'd be funny.
Also,
there's no lying here.
Also true. Yeah, I think that was the right move. It just becomes harder because where do you go from there? Oree seems to have a lot at their disposal. It's the one I know the least about coming into this. Just naturally, it's an indie title. But from what you say, there's such a wide spread of move potential here because I mean you're pulling from many various types of moves for him.
Yeah.
So what, you have like a poison move essentially, or like a grassy move, stuff like that. It's also
we have poison, psychic, grass, crystal, digital, electric, and wind.
What's its psychic move? Or does it have multiple?
It's telekinetic shrapnel, which is exactly what it sounds like.
Okay.
It's actually a lot of the attacks actually have really good animations. Because I picked my starter to be my starter second type starter, How Chick, and it has telekinetic shrapnel. It's like, oh man, this looks cool. Nice. It's got a lot of cool looking psychic attacks. I love
them. Nice. If you were building Oree in Smash, what would you kind of gravitate towards in terms of a move or two.
Well, I want to watch the animations of each attack because
Mm-hmm.
that's how I get a lot of my information a lot of times. Because I know what
Mm-hmm.
that move looks like, but Tesla Prison, like I have an image, I read that name and I have an image in my mind, but is that what it looks like in the game? Because in my mind,
Mm-hmm.
I imagine like you can set like either set a trap or you can like or more like a projectile that if it hits it kind of entraps the opponent. But if I look at the animation, I see that's wrong. I have to adjust my idea. And I would play the
Mm-hmm.
videos right now, but then the audio would come through, and I don't want to do that.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But if I'm looking just based off the names, Data Burst is a standard. Tesla Prison is either going to be a side or a down.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Okay. So kind of what I was thinking without knowing the character much.
mhm.
You kind of do pull from that pool of moves that would make the most sense, like aligning aesthetically with the character. Like, oh, this is a very tech forward looking thing, like Tesla Prison or Digital Burst, that data burst.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Well,
And then
that.
overclock is a move that only boosts your speed. So it's like, okay, I can imagine you're overclocking your system up special. It's a fast dash, like Pikachu's quick attack.
Yeah. Yeah. Pikachu, who? The Pokemon? What the hell is that?
I don't know.
Um.
I think it lost the culture war between Digimon.
Oh yeah, I
Yeah,
know Digimon.
yeah,
Digital monsters.
yeah.
Digimon.
Something something the champions.
Yeah. Digimon are Digimon digital monsters. What a wow. What a time that was.
For people that
There was
watched it,
also, yep, yep.
I was.
Um, there was also a theme song more that was one.
Yep.
All that said. Um I see three good options here. It's kind of hard to dictate where to go. I mean, acknowledging that Agumon has it is more of the standard approach between these three, just because his basis is fire and scratchiness and shit. So it's more like pulling from the well that we have with Charizard and a couple of other characters already in Smash. Although I think the size of the character, to look like a Squirtle sized uh, character, will help it move around and in a different way and play differently, like to a strong degree, to where I would be it would be difficult to say like, oh, Agumon's the same as Incineroar or Charizard or Bowser. It's like, it's not quite there.
Squirtle-sized Charizard without the wings,
Yeah, when you put it that way.
or maybe
So
more
yeah,
like Ivysaur-sized. When you
mm-hmm.
counting the bulb.
Right, right. Um, yeah. So that's what it has, and then you get the Digivolution. Throw that in, convolute it a little bit. It becomes more interesting. I mean, even if it's a Final Smash or a meter, like like who knows?
Yeah.
But there is that to throw a bit of a curveball in there. So at least there's that. Suezo is the biggest curveball. Like, do we put this character in who is largely to amuse us, but also has some legitimacy to a few of the moves? I mean, it's more limited in scope, and naturally look at it, but it licks you and kisses you and bites you. It's so multi-purpose.
Sure is.
And then it sure is, and we'll leave that there. Um, and then where it does pull in from its psychic moves is it's interesting. Like, can you do something with controlling your foe's will in the final smash, for instance, or is that just a big I beam? Since it's so I beam forward, yodeling Suezo amuses me like nothing else. Find a way to put that in there.
I mean, unfortunately, the wiki doesn't really say much about what these moves actually do.
Mm-hmm.
So we really don't know much on here. We just have the names and like what their type is between intelligence or power. We have effect/damage, but it's often just like a letter or a word. It's like or a number. It's like, okay, this doesn't tell me anything. I don't know what these actually are. the range of
Mhm.
them. But I mean, Mewtwo has disable and
Mhm.
confusion, so there's nothing says that Suezo can't do something similar in that nature, controlling their will. Like, okay, I make you turn around.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Um, Monster Rancher 1 and 2 are on the Switch. Oh,
Yeah, they were
hmm,
released as the double pack.
that could be
I think it's
something to
also
try.
on Steam. I think.
Okay, something to play sometime, but obviously not in time to inform this decision.
Nope.
Whoops. I remember watching the Monster Rancher anime a little bit as a kid, but these are like, as you said, suppressed memories. I remember almost nothing.
Yeah, I think I
Other
saw like part of one episode.
than Suezo was there, and he was indeed neurotic by nature. He was I remember him being very, very animated, very
Well, it is an anime.
yeah, very, very forward and kind of Squidward esque. um, gosh, how shall we approach the rest of this battle royale? Do you have any thoughts?
Well, I have a blasphemous thought.
Okay.
Uh, it's weird because Agumon of these three is the last one I would vote for, honestly, which is the
Mm-hmm.
blasphemy. I know, but it also feels wrong to not go for it. You know,
Mm-hmm.
it's like granted, Smash is supposed to be like our personal wants and wishes. There's no
Right.
likelihood or a native like, oh, keep a roster balance in mind. We don't actually have to be thinking about
Yeah.
that.
Absolutely.
But like the only reason why it really stands out to me at all is because of you can do something with the Digivolution. That's
Yeah.
it.
You're
That's
that. You're that.
other than that, I there's nothing interesting to me about it. Suezo, truthfully, doesn't really have anything interesting about it other than the sheer comedy of fighting an eyeball with a tail stalk.
Yeah.
Truth, truth. And then there's Oree, that is gets played on some digital stuff and
Hmm.
has some other typings that I can pull from. But
Yeah.
then even beyond that, again, it's like okay,
Yeah.
he's kind of a flavor of the month in a way.
Right. Ori Ori is by far the most interesting from a moveset perspective.
Yes,
Like obviously what you can do. Yes, Agumon has Digivolution, but we don't know how that would play out. And without knowing how it would play out, if it were to at all outside of the Final Smash, to be honest with you, it's a dragon dino thing with that walks around and sprays pepper breath. um Yeah, so I hear you there. Ori is by far the most interesting from the moveset perspective, with the digital basis as we kind of talked about. Although, yeah, the only thing I feel tepid with the character, and this isn't anything it can control, is yeah, it is flavor of the month, and I don't want to have future sight, but
that's
unavoidably, I
Pokemon.
think that yeah, yeah. It may have issues in Tournament of Champions. The guest won't know the character. They'll be like, oh, but we're not there now. We're not there now. This is between these three, and I almost want to fast track Ori as one of the victors here, acknowledging that there's just that one little block on the trigger.
What's the block?
It's like, oh, it's a flavor of the month baby character. But that's not what we're here for. So if we're going surely by, oh, it's interesting, I think my first vote would be for Ori. What do you think?
I vote Oree.
Yeah, yeah, I agree. What's happening? I agree. I agree with that vote. Ori is there.
Okay, I'll move now.
Okay. Then that takes us down to Agumon versus Suezo.
Yep.
Yep. Both characters who, again, admittedly do not have the most interesting moveset potential. Both pretty melee forward characters. One is fire element, which we have a lot of in Smash already.
Well, one is fire, claws, and
Mm-hmm.
arguably bites. The other one is lasers, bites, and licks, and tail tickles.
God. When you put it that way, actually, when you put it that way, I kind of feel like there's pluses and minuses for both of them. Like, it's like, oh, how interesting. And also,
How terrifying.
Yeah, like, oh my God. Okay, I know what the moral answer is, because I mean that's Agumon. Let's get that out of the way. It is clearly like it's the more well-rounded choice. So what do? You go for that, or you go for chaos? Like Suezo is a chaotic vote, but it makes sense in a way as well. I will tell you right now, my vote is for Agumon. My vote is for Agumon. I wanted Suezo, but I can't shake it in this matchup.
Jonno, I have a question for you.
Mm-hmm. What's up?
So, you know how our first two Smash just had a tie, and then our third one didn't? And you're like,
Yeah.
oh man, we could have had 3 in a row?
Yeah. It's too bad we didn't.
I'm forcing the tie, motherfucker! I'm voting for Suezo! Alright, all you people out there, I know what you're gonna vote for, but it's Agumon versus Suezo. We're leaving it up to you. I'm voting for the funny eyeball man. As soon as you're like, oh, I'm gonna go for Oree first, like, oh, we're going there. I know what's happening now. Yes! The long con has paid off. I don't care that I'm going to lose. I know it will happen, but I'm doing it.
Who knows? Who knows if you'll lose?
I think I know. I know our friend circle is Digimon friendly. It's also which is why I don't feel bad about voting against Agumon.
It's also chaos friendly and strange bullshit friendly. So I mean, it could could go a certain way. I could see a few people that we know voting for Suezo for sure. And I mean, I kind of wanted to, but I just couldn't. I just couldn't do it.
Well, the thing we know for sure is that Oree is making it to the Tournament of Champions this season, and that our fans / friends / frenemies will get to cast their votes between Agumon and Suezo. So Jonno will probably post a thing in the Discord channel that you can respond to. I think he'll also put it on Instagram and maybe on Facebook if that's still being updated. I don't know. I don't do the social media for this stuff. You can comment on this video on YouTube, or I don't think the audio parts of them have comment sections. But you can email us at that email that we set up. What was that email we set up?
Supercastbrothers@yahoo.com.
Email that with your votes.
Yeah.
Count them. Just tell us what you want. Also tell us what color Jonno should dye his hair.
Some people have told me to have a pink streak.
I was literally going to say hot pink.
Well, I guess we don't have to set a tie for that one.
Nope.
Well, you've got our eye, just our singular eye on this matchup. We'll see where it goes.
That is indeed it. Tiebreaker, Agumon versus Suezo. We'll see what comes out on top. We'll talk about that in our next Smash episodes, which I'm honestly looking at what that episode is going to be. Our next one, I am very looking forward to seeing what kind of chaos that episode's going to be. We're talking about Suezo being a chaos pick. Let me tell you right now. The next Smash Dash is going to be chaotic. And that's all I'm going to say. That's all I really can say at this point without giving anything away.
Absolutely. It'll be fun.
It's going to be interesting.
Mm-hmm.
But there's 3 episodes that are going to be going up before that. So you kind of got to get there first. That's going to be in
why?
That's in a month and a half away. That's 6 weeks away. Because next episode is actually going to be part 4 of our roster redux project. We are getting onto the GameCube with Super Smash Bros. Melee. We've got another guest on for that one. It will be adding more characters onto our Smash roster at that point. We'll see who gets added in and who gets left out of the set. There are some choices. There are some choices being made.
But then, there was.
Yeah.
I remembered.
Yeah.
Woohoo.
Yeah. I'm not bitter about it. But then after that, it'll be a non-topic episode, and we're covering. Hey, you know that on topic is being uploaded April 6th. Do you know what's special about April 6th?
Not inherently.
Nothing. Honestly, there's nothing special about April 6th, but there is something special about April 5th. The anniversary of the Super Mario Brothers movie. It'll have been 1 year since that movie released in theaters.
Nice.
And to celebrate, we won't be talking about that movie. We already did that last season. Instead, we'll be talking about what if there was the Super Smash Brothers cinematic universe. Oh, shit, we go in there. Assuming, the Mario movie will be the first movie in this lineup, and we'll just be adding more to it, talking about what ideas we'd like to see, how they could combine things to a big old crossover event, much like Marvel did with us Avengers, and just a free-form discussion on Nintendo movies, it really. Should be a fun one. I'm looking forward to it.
Definitely, I'm looking forward to that discussion. Speaking of chaos...
What?
I don't know. Just generally.
Did you send me something?
No, not yet.
Oh, no, but Cody did. Yeah. What did you tell him?
Chaos.
Oh, no, he just sent me some Bionicle stuff.
Nice.
I thought, because Cody is one of the people that we have that's very, very Digimon sided. So I just see messages from Cody. It's like, did you tell him what I did?
Not yet.
I mean, I'm sure we all know what he'll vote for.
Yeah. Well, sit down and enjoy Pokemon the movie, The Tales of Us. Have a nice evening.
Don't get hit by Omnimon.
Yeah, don't do that.
Don't get hit by a truck and turn into a ghost cat.
Yep. Don't do that.
Don't do that.
Don't do that.
Don't do that.